Tengri split the sky with a thunderous roar, and the earth cracked open to birth the first Kams. This was no mere storm. It was the sky god's judgment on a world that had forgotten his name. But the Kams were not men. They were the spirits of the steppes, bound to the bones of the Altai mountains. The air burned with the scent of juniper and blood as Tengri's lightning carved the first shaman's mark into the sacred stone of Tanri Dagi. In the shadow of Ergenekon, where the mountains huddle like ancient wolves, the Kams stirred, their voices rising in a chorus of wind and bone. Umay, mother of all life, wept as her tears fell to the steppes, turning the soil into a cradle for the first shamans. The Kams walked between realms, their skin etched with the runes of the sky, their tongues speaking the language of the stars. "The gods demand sacrifice," growled the elder shaman, his eyes reflecting the fire of Umay's sacred flame. "Only blood can open the gates of the underworld." From the marrow of the Altai came the Kams, their souls forged in the crucible of Tengri's wrath. "We are the bridge between the heavens and the earth," whispered the youngest Kam, her voice a hymn to the forgotten gods. The steppes trembled as the first ritual began, a dance of shadows and fire where the dead were reborn into the breath of the wind. Deep within the Altai mountains, where the sky bleeds into the snow and the wind howls like a wolf with a broken bone, the Kams dwell. Their realm is a labyrinth of stone altars, each carved with the names of the dead, and sacred groves where the trees grow in spirals, their roots drinking the blood of sacrifices. Here, the Kams walk between worlds, their faces painted with ash and bone, their eyes reflecting the fire of Umay's eternal flame. The Kams do not pray to Tengri, the sky god, but to the spirits trapped in the bones of the earth. They believe the dead do not rest, but wander, their souls tethered to the living by threads of hair, sinew, and whispered names. To bind these spirits, the Kams perform the rite of the seven veils, a ritual where a shaman, cloaked in the hide of a boar and crowned with antlers, drinks the blood of a ram and dances until the stars fall from the sky. In the valley of Kizilkob, where the river Turan runs black with the tears of the first shaman, the Kams carve their secrets into the rock. They speak in tongues older than the Ergenekon legend, their words curling like smoke from the sacred fire. The spirits, they say, are not kind. They demand offerings, a lock of hair, a piece of a broken arrow, the first breath of a newborn. But the greatest sacrifice is the soul of a child left at the threshold of the world tree, where the roots dig into the underworld and the branches claw at the heavens. The Kams call this the price of the veil, and they whisper it in the dark, their voices trembling with the weight of the bargain. The spirits in return grant the Kams visions of wars yet to come, of empires rising from the dust, of the gray wolf's return to the steppes. The shaman of the Kipchak tribe, Barsbek the Red-Eyed, stood at the edge of the Ergenekon's frozen chasm, his cloak stitched with the bones of 7 sacrificed wolves. His hands trembled as he clutched the sacred drum, its hide cracked from the weight of Umay's tears. The curse had come not from the gods, but from the earth itself, when Barsbek had once stolen a fragment of the world tree's root to heal his dying sister. The land had howled in protest. Now, the ground beneath him pulsed like a wounded beast, demanding retribution. "I will not let the dead rot in the dark," Barsbek growled, his voice raw with the frost of the steppes. "Even if the underworld devours me, I will bring their voices back to the sky." He leapt into the chasm, his descent a blur of ice and shadow. Below the underworld of the Kams was a realm of shifting mirrors, where the dead walked as phantoms, and the sky was a bruised purple. Rivers of molten silver carved paths through the obsidian ground, and the air hummed with the whispers of forgotten souls. At the heart of this realm stood the Gate of Tengri, a monolith of black stone, etched with the names of those who had failed their call. "Why do you trespass, mortal?" boomed a voice like thunder rolling over the Altai peaks. From the shadows emerged a figure with antlers of bone and eyes like smoldering coals, the guardian of the underworld, Turan the Unyielding. Barsbek dropped to one knee, his drum trembling in his grip. I seek the voice of my sister, stolen by the earth's wrath. Grant me passage, or let me die here as a fool. You are no fool, Turan rumbled, his antlers scraping the stone. But the price of redemption is not given, it is earned. Walk the path of 7 shadows, and only then will your sister's voice be yours to carry. The ground split, revealing a tunnel lined with flickering shadows. Each step Barsbek took pulled him deeper into the underworld's heart, where the air thickened with the weight of ancient oaths and the echoes of a world that had once been whole. You are not the first to defy the sky, boomed the horned god of the steppes, his voice shaking the peaks of Tengri. His form loomed like a storm, a figure of antlered bone and storm cloud cloak, eyes blazing with the fire of 1,000 suns. The air crackled as he raised a hand, and the ground split open, revealing a chasm where the dead walked in a silent procession. The shaman's jaw tightened. His staff, carved from the heartwood of an ancient ash, pulsed with the sacred flame of Umay. Then let the heavens remember this day, he roared, his voice echoing across the steppes. With a sweep of his arm, he summoned the Kams from the shadows, cloaked figures with eyes like dying stars, their chants weaving the wind into a living blade. You think your rituals bind the spirits? The horned god laughed, a sound like breaking ice. The demon of the underworld has already drunk the blood of your ancestors. Your fire is but a spark in the dark. From the chasm rose a creature of nightmare, a beast with a wolf's head, a serpent's tail, and eyes that mirrored the void. Its roar shattered the bones of the earth. The Kams surged forward, their voices rising in a hymn older than the Altai mountains. The demon lunged, its claws tearing through the air, but the shaman stood firm. Umay's breath is in every breath of the wind, he cried, hurling his staff into the sky. Lightning split the heavens, and Tengri himself descended, his form a blaze of gold and shadow. You have trespassed on the sacred balance. Tengri's voice thundered, shaking the stars. This realm is not yours to claim. The demon recoiled as the sky god's wrath turned the steppes into a battlefield of fire and ice. The shaman, his body trembling, stepped between them. In the shadow of Ergenekon, where the steppes meet the sky, the Kams still whisper to the stars, their power hidden but never lost. The wind carries their chants across the Altai mountains, where shamans carve prayers into the bones of ancient ewes, and the rivers of Turan remember the names of those who died with honor. The people of Central Asia, from the Kazakh plains to the Anatolian highlands, trace their lineage to the first Kams, whose rituals bound the souls of the dead to the breath of the world. Even now, when the moon hangs low over the steppes, elders gather in circles of fire, their voices rising in songs older than the Silk Road itself. They speak of Umay, the mother goddess, whose tears fall as rain to nourish the earth, and Tengri, whose gaze from the heavens judges the hearts of kings and commoners alike. The Ergenekon legend lives on, not as a tale of exile, but as a promise that the Turkic spirit forged in the crucible of the steppes will never be buried.